Hello everyone, Throttle-On John here. It's been way too long since I've been out in the GT350. I think it's been about a year and a half. Main reason being I had put this vehicle in the shop and it had gravel outside, a long gravel driveway, and I've got the situation remedied now to where I can drive on it. But I'm really excited to take the GT350 out. So let's go ahead, let's get it out, and I'm going to take you all along for a ride. This is one of my favorite cars just to drive. I know there's faster cars. This car is plenty fast. Not a drag strip car, but just to drive it and rev match it and roll through the manual transmission, Tremec manual transmission, it's just great. 5.2 flat plane crank, likes to rev, easy revving. It's one of my favorite vehicles to drive. Motor is ready to ride. We're just gonna drive the Voodoo easy for a little bit. We need to get this oil temperature up to around 200 degrees or close. You can see we're not even close, we're around 100. So we're gonna drive this nice and easy, and then we'll tune back in. I think sometimes problems can be caused in these motors if you start revving them out when maybe the coolant's warm but the oil isn't. So it's very important for this vehicle to have the oil temps warmed up before you're pushing it. So oil is still not warm. We're just going to short shift. The sound of the GT350 is good. It's just like 4,000 RPM shifts. Up some more and then we'll rev it out. There's just something so special about this car, the way it corners, and you can rev match it. It's just, I don't know, I can't really put it into words. You just have to, let's say you have to drive one. I love my GT Mustang with the Coyote, an auto rev match, but there's something about this where I get to rev match, and this 5.2 flat plane crank motor, it just revs so easy, and then this turns like you're on rails. Oh man, the sound. It just sings, and I'm shifting it 4,000 RPM or so, and it just sings. Really, the only place you really need to rev this car out is at a track. But just to drive it around and rev match it and enjoy it. I love downshift. I shift more than I need to just so I can rev match. Just to go through corners, accelerate out. This car makes me smile. I've driven it a number of times, and every time I don't think I've ever driven it and not smiled. This is a keeper for sure. Just to rev match, the brakes are good, the handling is good. I feel like it hides its weight pretty well. And the Tremec is very nice to shift. One of the things I like best about this car is you think about doing something, you think about giving it gas, and it goes. You think about turning, you tilt the wheel a little bit, and it turns. You brake, and it brakes. Everything feels very mechanical but in a good way, if that makes sense. The transmission, you can feel the gears. You can feel where the notches are in the transmission, where it wants to go. They're short, nice throws. They're tight. And then the motor will just rev. So good. Okay, so we're just gonna accelerate through a few gears here. It's about 6 grand. 6,500. And the turning is so good. You come up on these turns and it just darts through the corners, just sticks to the ground. There's something very special about this car coming into a corner. I mean, it's just incredible. Downshift, rev match, tip into the corner, neutral to the corner, and as you come out, open that throttle up. Come into the corner, brakes are awesome. Tip in, come out of the corner, open back up, and it just slingshots you out. So much fun. I don't know, this car reminds me of it's one of the few cars that when I drive it, I get the same feeling as when I'm driving a motorcycle. You feel like you're truly driving something, if that makes sense. Motorcycles you ride, cars you drive, but I don't know, this car gives me the feeling that it sounds weird, but I'm riding something. I'm actually connected to the machine. So that's what I like about it. And you know, this motor, I don't typically rev it out past 65 or 75. It just, there's no need to take it up to the red line of 8,200. I mean, you can, but it just, most situations, it doesn't need that. My only complaint about this car is driving it on the highway is hard not to be that driver that nobody likes. And so I just have to, when I get in here, if I'm not on a track, I just have to, you know, you have to use some self-control, and that's just the way it is. So, but this car, to truly appreciate it, you have to take it to a track. You just have to. And anyway, it's very capable. It's a great car. Maybe the best way I can describe this engine is just free revving. It just likes to rev. It just loves to rev. Just makes me chuckle every time. Just raw power in revs. I don't know, I love revving this thing. Oh my goodness. All right, well, you get the idea. So here we are back at the shop. Got the 5.2 liter Voodoo flat plank crank motor. I'm going to do an oil change on it. It's time, just because of time, not miles. It's been about a year and really haven't put many miles on it at all. But I'm going to lift the car up and just do a walk around under there while the oil's draining. So here we are walking up to the front of the car, and take a look at the Brembo brakes from the inside, the rotors. You got the MagneRide suspension. As we come back, you can see where we're going to change our oil. Pull that oil plug right there. Let's see. Tremec manual transmission. Done a full service on this with diff oil and everything. It's very easy to work on. And the two exhausts come down. And look at those rear A-arms. They're huge. Your rear disc's pretty big for a rear disc. Get your coil springs. Lots of aero to help direct air out and through the car into the transmission cooler, or rear diff cooler, I should say. Wow. Car is definitely built.